It's the fourth and final wake for Officer Peter Fagowski. One was held earlier this morning. There were two others held yesterday. Yet still hundreds of people streamed into Boyd Spencer Funeral Homes here in Babylon, including Mayor Bloomberg himself, all here to pay their respects to Officer Fagowski's family. I was just inside the packed courtroom where David Laffer will soon be brought. He'll learn the charges he faces related to the Medford pharmacy murders. Someone who was a mentor to others in the unit, and that was certainly evident with the amount of officers, family, and friends who showed up to pay their respects. You can sort of see behind me the scene that we're still dealing with in many neighborhoods. They're still thinking that the remains of Shannon Gilbert could be here at Gilgo Beach. Suffolk police questioned the parents and the little boy separately. The National Weather Service believes what may have caused this corn to go down is what's called a microburst. It's like an inverse tornado where strong downdrafts cause damaging winds on or near the ground. As you can see behind me, police have now wrapped up their investigation, and as you can tell, there are now cars passing through as they've opened up the roads here in the crime scene. And meanwhile, an officer who we're told was just spent a few years on the job so far is recovering after an early morning shootout. Police say Hempstead Village officers were looking for two black men in their 20s around 2:30 this morning who were suspects in street robberies. A third officer in his car noticed one suspect in a ski mask. The 25-year-old officer left his patrol car in the lot, his ignition still on, seen here hours later. Cops say the suspect wouldn't stop, and then the shootout began at Washington Street and Cooper Place.
At that intersection behind us, where both the police officer and the subject ended up, was where a gun battle kind of ensued, all right, with rounds going in both directions.
Police say the suspect shot the officer with his revolver, hitting him first in the back and then in the arm.
And a volley of shots went out. How many shots exactly, we don't know. That's under investigation.
Officers say the vest likely saved this officer's life.
Without the bulletproof vest, more than likely this officer is going to suffer serious injuries. It's a serious physical injury or death.
That officer, despite being injured, was able to return fire.
Police Chief Joseph Wing says the officer shot back, hitting the suspect in the groin and lower abdomen. He's now being treated at NUMC. Meanwhile, the officer is at Mercy Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and the suspects are in custody.
Total disdain, and it's a good thing that he's off the street.
And the protesters that are not at Zuccotti Park, some are in this area behind me around 6th and Canal in Lower Manhattan. Now, Mayor Bloomberg called the Occupy Wall Street protest at Zuccotti Park an intolerable situation, and that's what led to his decision to send the protesters packing from the place they've called home for the past 2 months. The unexpected wake-up call came around 1 a.m. NYPD officers got the order from Mayor Bloomberg to evict the Occupy Wall Street protesters from Zuccotti Park. Some protesters left, others stayed behind, tying themselves to trees.
We wanted our tents and we wanted to make it through a winter and prove to people that it's a serious movement. But they wouldn't give us a chance to survive until the spring.
All the belongings left at the park were collected into metal bins. Police arrested more than 70 people in the process. The rest scattered around Lower Manhattan.
I was pushed by about 15, me and a group of 30 other people were pushed by maybe 15 cops, an entire block. Just standing.
Mayor Bloomberg says the park was cleared for health reasons. Sanitation workers spent the morning spraying down the park. Bloomberg says the park became a place not for protesting, but a place to break laws.
The First Amendment protects speech. It does not protect the use of tents and sleeping bags to take over a public space. Protesters have had 2 months to occupy the park with tents and sleeping bags. Now they will have to occupy the space with the power of their arguments.
He said protesters would be allowed back inside the park, but without their tents and sleeping bags. Lawyers for the protesters then filed a court order asking for them to return to the park with all their belongings. In the meantime, protesters make their way back to Zuccotti Park, hoping to continue what they started 2 months ago.
It is uncalled for, and I hope people will come and support this movement because the conversation has changed. We're not going back. Greed is out. Caring is in.
Now, NYPD officers have now barricaded this area at 6th and Canal. and they were making arrests just a few moments ago. Again, some of the similar cheers we were hearing from Zuccotti Park, yelling shame, shame, as people were carried out in handcuffs. And certainly this story of the Occupy Wall Street protesters, even after 2 months, seems to not be ending anytime soon. We're in Lower Manhattan. Elyse Evans, News 12, Long Island. The man police say robbed a CVS for prescription drugs and cash will be arraigned today. And earlier this afternoon, outside the 6th Precinct, police gave us more information about their suspect, Patrick O'Donnell. Police arrested 22-year-old Patrick O'Donnell of Ronkonkoma last night around 10. He's the man detectives believe robbed the CVS pharmacy in Farmingville last Sunday. They say O'Donnell only had one prior charge of possession of marijuana. He stayed silent while getting transferred from the 6th Precinct in Selden.
It's an intense investigation.
Inspector Robert Oswald says prescription drugs were again the motive for this robbery.
I think the 21st century gateway drug to more serious problems is the synthetic opiates that we have today. It's found in everyone's medicine cabinet. It's found in everyone's home.
Police say around 30 calls came into Crime Stoppers before they arrested O'Donnell.
This case was brought in because of the public responding to the Crime Stoppers tips and the videos.
Detective Lieutenant Greg McVeigh has this advice for any business owner who wants to stay safe and protected.
Business owners consider getting cameras if they don't have them, and consider seriously getting digital or good quality cameras, because to have something that's ineffective makes no sense.
In light of the Medford pharmacy murders, police say all officers have now stepped up their monitoring of pharmacies. Police also have this advice for all of us at home. Get prescription drugs out of your home. They say don't flush them, but actually bring them to any Suffolk County precinct. There is a secure drop box inside each precinct's lobby where they will be disposed of properly, no questions asked. And O'Donnell again will be arraigned today. Right now he faces charges of robbery, 3rd degree. In Selden, I'm Elyse Evans, News 12, Long Island. Jonathan and Angela Cernuto didn't expect their movie night to turn into such a nightmare.
I didn't believe it at first. I had to walk up and down the parking lot like 2 or 3 times.
When they left the Island 16 movie theater in Holtzville,
my car got stolen. The same beaner that was in my car.
The Iraqi vet recently returned from a drill weekend, so all of his military gear was inside his dark green '94 Honda Civic. Now he can only show us pictures of what was taken.
Most of my military gear, like clothing, stuff like that I'll never get back, stuff that I've gotten when I was deployed.
But it's more than military gear. The items have special meaning to this Marine. His wife Angela says Jonathan was devastated by the theft. Angela wonders why she only saw 2 security cars roaming the huge parking lot.
I would like them to increase security measures. They need to put cameras in the parking lot.
Police say there have been multiple larcenies and some car thefts reported from this parking lot. And as you can tell, if you're parked in the very back, you're out of sight from the front entrance. So is crime a big problem here at Island 16? From November 2009 to June 2010, Suffolk police say 6 larcenies were reported in the Island 16 parking lot. That number increased to 10 during that same period a year later. 2 car thefts were reported for each time period, and criminal mischief went up slightly in 2010. As for the Cernutos, they're warning other moviegoers, beware.
I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody else.
Elyse Evans, News 12, Long Island. A professor at CW Post recovering after shooting himself in the leg. Well, as you break out the recipes for your Thanksgiving feast this Thursday, don't forget about buying local. Many Long Islanders who are out of work hope when the president speaks this week, he'll offer a concrete plan that'll help get them back in the workforce. Oil prices could be falling as Libyan rebels gain control of their nation's oil refineries. There are hopes Libya will start exporting 1.6 million barrels of oil again once the civil war ends. A call for help for a grieving Freeport family. 7th grader Camille Scott died suddenly last week, as News 12 reported. She collapsed inside a classroom at John W. Dodd Middle School on Thursday.